Prosecutors called 3 people to testify today in a trial expected to last 6 weeks. A local blogger was one of the first people to take up Karen Read's cause, and that advocacy came at a price. His name is Aidan Kearney. He's known online as Turtleboy, and some of his followers have turned up at the homes of witnesses and prosecutors, and Aidan himself is facing charges of witness intimidation. He's pleaded not guilty, and he is kind enough to be live with me now. Thank you so much for being with me today. I know that getting into the courtroom is next to impossible. They're limiting that gallery, so you have to kind of watch it on a feed. But there were 3 pretty important witnesses today. Do you think big headway was made by the prosecutors today, Aidan?
I do. I just want to correct you. We didn't show up at the House of Witnesses. We peacefully protested outside the houses of cop killers. That's what we did. And do I think any headway was made for the prosecution today? Absolutely not. Everything the prosecution did today directly benefited the defense, and if anything, helped out Karen Read's case. Because it showed, for instance, there's video in the driveway of multiple people at the O'Keefe house afterwards. Karen Read's car is parked right there. Not a single person in that driveway notices that her allegedly smashed to smithereens taillight is sitting there like that. That's one of many examples. We saw a dash cam video today that actually helps Karen Read. It exculpates Karen Read and it inculpates Jennifer McCabe, the woman who Googled how long to die in cold at 2:27. So I think this was an epic fail by the Commonwealth. It was a disaster, and I think you're going to see more of this as the trial goes on.
So it's always interesting in the prosecution's case, you can't imagine that all this negative stuff will come up, but sometimes they try to get ahead of it because they know it's sort of bad facts for their side. Since you just mentioned the dash cam, let me show that, because I was surprised to see this as well. This was played in court. It's a Canton police officer's dash cam. His name is Stephen Seraph. He's arriving at the scene. And I think what you said here was that, you know, that's one of those people is Jennifer McCabe, right? And the other is Karen Read. So what is it that we're really seeing here? Help me understand what it means.
What you're seeing there is genuine shock and trauma from Karen Read, who's running around like a chicken with her head cut off because she just for the first time saw the body of her dead boyfriend that she had no idea would be there. What you're seeing from Jennifer McCabe is a woman who's bundled up right there trying to grab Karen. She repeatedly talks. When John's body is moved out of there on the gurney, she turns her back to John. Karen's the only person in that party that attempted to save John's life. What does Jennifer McCabe do? She goes up to every officer there and immediately begins talking to them because she's already spinning the narrative that, oh, maybe Karen Read did this. She doesn't mention to the 911 dispatcher, who she's on the phone with, or any of these officers, that she's directly outside of her sister's house and that there are warm blankets inside. And there's a trained first responder named Brian Albert, her brother-in-law, who's inside, a 29-year veteran of the Boston Police Department. There's a dead body on his front lawn. He never comes outside. I repeat, a Boston police officer did not come outside of his house when a dead Boston cop was found on his front lawn. The police never went inside. They never searched that house. Ashleigh, if you or I have a dead cop show up on our front lawn, I got news for you. They're coming in the house. They're searching that house. They're going to make sure that there's no blood in there, that there's nothing else incriminating in there. Instead, what did they do? They just blamed it all on Karen Read, who was the only person here.
Well, they'll
showing
also
any sort of shock.
look for witnesses, right? They'll look for witnesses, look for all sorts of evidence of a party that is really, and this is so compelling, this video, seeing Karen, you can just see this bodily reaction she's having. One other thing really big. We're hearing for the first time today about text messages we didn't know about from an investigator named Michael Proctor. These text messages are in the aftermath of John O'Keefe's death. And apparently the defense says that Proctor was improperly searching Karen Read's cell phone for nude photos and also texting his friends that he hoped Karen Read would kill herself. It's just astounding. What's the context of that?
So, I mean, Michael Proctor would love it if Karen Read killed herself because then she wouldn't have to go to trial. They could blame it all on her. And the fact that he's a corrupt cop who planted evidence and framed an innocent woman in order to protect a bunch of cop killers would never be made public. That she would be doing him a huge favor if she killed herself. Michael Proctor is close friends with the homeowners, the Alberts. He also said in a message to a friend who texted him and said, Jesus, Brian in trouble. He's got a dead cop on his front lawn. And he said, nope. He said, he's a Boston police officer. We're not going to investigate him. That like, I mean, it's sickening. It's sickening what he's admitted to in there. He has known these people for decades, never disclosed this to his bosses. He lied to a state grand jury that indicted Karen Read for murder and said he didn't know them. He has since been investigated by the FBI. How do you think we have his text messages? Because the FBI took his phone. The FBI is investigating an investigation of a murder. That never, ever happens. What we're seeing here is a very corrupt state police. I mean, that's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And he's also under internal affairs investigation, and he's going to have to testify at this trial. He's going to have to undergo cross-examination. This is a dirty cop. And by the way, these are the same dirty cops who came to my house and arrested me and charged me with, called my journalism witness intimidation, because I've been pointing out the same facts that I'm pointing out right now, that Michael Proctor knows knows the witnesses in the case, that he's friends with them. I've proven this.
Yeah. I have to say these are allegations that he's a dirty cop. It's not been proven, and I certainly have to just give that disclaimer here on this program. I would love to have the police come on this program as well and answer to these things. And Aidan, I really hope you'll come back. You're, we're watching this case closer than anyone else. I sure hope you'll help us sort of sort through as other bombshells are dropped in the courtroom. Thank you for this. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.